Overtime!
All right, guys, check it out. If you remember last time with the PAC-MAN, we got the monitor all sorted out. Well, basically, we got it working again, working properly, but we had a bit of a graphical glitch. If you can see this here, you know, it's working, it's playing PAC-MAN, but you know, there's these weird lines going through all of the motion sprites. It actually only affects the sprites that are in motion. The other objects that are stationary don't have that, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out what it was. And good news, I was eventually able to get it working. As you can see, no more lines through PAC-MAN, no more lines through any of the monsters. So that's fantastic. And like I said, I tried a bunch of stuff. I was just, socketing and reseating stuff and, going over the schematics, and eventually I got the gimbal working, and what it was 6F, which is that chip right there. I guess that handles the issues with the motion sprites, and like I said, it was working, but not working properly. There was some kind of issue with that chip, and fortunately, I had a donor board here. This is another original PAC-MAN board. I got this from my buddy Jeremiah Jackson from opcorner. He had been working on this board. He was never able to get it working. It's got a bunch of bodge wires on the back. They're like loose. It's missing stuff. It's missing the the VRAM bus sort of daughter board over here, and other things are unpopulated. But I was able to steal the 6F chip, which looks like Jeremiah he bought a set burned from Twisty Wrist Arcade. This is actually the one that was on my board. I took that one off, stuck it in here, took the 6F off of this board, put it onto my board, and sure enough, everything is working properly, or at least that issue is solved. And we can play a game of PAC-MAN, but one issue that I haven't fixed is, here we go, it's coin up and start a game. There's no sound whatsoever. And I think it's the amp. The amp chip on this thing, I think, has gone bad. And that looks like this over here, right over here. I don't want to touch anything while it's running. There's a bit of a heat sink on that. And my original plan was, again, to rob it off the, come on, gimbal. Rob it off of the donor board, and I was able to successfully remove it. It's from right here. See these two big holes. I was able to remove it without really damaging the PCB. PAC-MAN PCBs are a little bit delicate. The traces and whatnot are easily broken and pulled. I was able to get it out, but I unfortunately destroyed it in the process. I basically had to cut it out because it is a huge pain in the butt to remove this thing. Well, one of my channel members, Sean from Classic Arcade Repairs on YouTube, which is an awesome channel that you should subscribe to. Classic Arcade Repairs. Let me get you mounted on the man, it is so hot and humid. Turn off the game. Classic Arcade Repairs on YouTube. It's an awesome channel. He actually did a video about how to remove the sound amp chip from PAC-MAN PCBs, and Sean is really a pro when it comes to this stuff. I am a rank amateur. Let's get this out of here. And even Sean, it was a huge pain even for him, and he did it with he eventually broke out his hot air rework station, and that's how he was able to get it out. So he did a video about this. That video is currently a members-only video on his channel. So I'll leave a link in the video description down below on this video. But if you want to see that video from Sean, you're going to have to become a channel member of his channel, just like I am of his channel and he is of mine. So basically what's going on, this is what I think the issue is. This is the sound chip here, or at least you really can't even see it, because it's stuck beneath this pretty good size heatsink. So there's this four ICs. This is a relatively large heatsink, and the issue is there's not that many pins on the underside. Where is it? Right here. Yeah, I'm sweating bad, that you have to remove. But the problem is this heatsink, and it's also on this large ground plane, and so it takes so much heat to even begin to melt the solder on this, and you never quite get all of it out. And the heatsink itself is like soldered to the board. You can even see, right, like right here on both sides, there's an opening where two legs go through, the two inner legs on both sides, and the sort of fins of the heat sink go through there, and that all gets soldered on the underside, and it just grabs on so hard that there's essentially no way to kind of get it out. So without basically destroying the chip and the heat sink in the process. So what I ended up doing, I went and I ordered new ones of both. Oh, here actually, I didn't throw it away. Here is the chip. It's in two pieces. This is the original from the donor board. The remnants of you can see right here how even parts of the heatsink get soldered in. And here is what's left of the heatsink. Again, I had to basically cut the whole thing out. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'll bend this out of the way so I can kind of get my my tools in there to access it. But don't worry, because I purchased, again, from twistywristarcade.com, I got a couple, in case I screw up, a couple of new heat sinks that'll fit. And I think it's this LM1877 right here is the amp itself. So I'm going to, yes, I know, destructively remove this from the board. Let me see if I can get you in here a little bit closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing with this. There we go. That's probably as good as it's going to get. I'm going to come in here and actually cut, if I can, the heat sink. Get really deep in there. It's starting to go. Come on. There we go. So the heat sink's been cut on this side, and I will do my best to bend it out of the way and cut it on this side. Let's see if I can get in here without breaking anything. There's all these other components in the way, and I don't want to break anything else. Yeah, it is hot and humid. I'm sweating almost. Come on. There we go. So there we go. We cut the heat sink off, but I'm not done cutting. I am going to cut this the chip out too, because I'm assuming this chip is dead. Come on. Did I break my? No. I'm assuming this chip is dead, and by cutting it out here, it'll be a lot easier for me to be able to remove it without damaging the board, because I don't care about killing the chip, because I think the chip's already dead. And let's see. Come on, I hope I'm not damaging the trace. By cutting this out, it'll be a ton easier for me to remove what's left of the chip, desolder it, and not feel like I damaged the tip of this thing, and not wreck the board. So I'm just cutting each leg one by one, being careful not to ruin the board. I'm trying not to sweat on it either, but that's almost unavoidable. And the big problem is the legs in the middle. Could probably just cut the chip. Look at that destructive repair here. Oh man. Come on. Come on. Okay, and then I can cut here. Ooh. All right. Stuff is flying all over. But I gotta make sure I don't leave any debris anywhere. But now it should be significantly easier because there's, there isn't the heat sink to absorb all of the heat that I'm trying to put into the solder to remove it. So let me get my soldering iron warmed up, and we'll go and try to remove these pins and clear out the vias so we can install the new amp and the new heat sink. Okay, so here's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some flux from my flux pen on to help flow things, and I'm going to add a little bit of fresh solder to each of these legs. So again, new solder helps the old solder flow and melt, which is what we want. Okay, I'll put a bunch on so you can see how long it takes the old solder to melt on the part where the heatsink got mounted. But all this flux and fresh solder will help with that. And then kind of what I should be able to do is basically push the old pins out, push them through to the other side, even potentially this part. Yeah, I hear it moving. Push them all through. And then, if they haven't dropped out yet, you can see how they're like sticking out a bit more. And so this is going to be difficult to kind of show on camera. I'm going to grab one of these with my needle nose pliers and apply some heat on the opposite side. It should, in theory, pull right out. Almost. Change this angle a little bit. Let's see. Get some heat. In theory, here we go. Pulled right out. See? And this is the chunk from the heat sink that would have taken me forever to clear out. Okay. And let me do one of the legs here to show how that works. Grab this one so it's nice and high up. Okay. So let me go and pull the rest of these, and then I'll clean it up with my desoldering braid, and we'll be ready to install the new amp chip and the new heatsink. All right, guys, I got all the solder removed. Everything is clean, everything is clear, the vias are clear, everything's good to go and prepped. So I think we can install our new LM. It's an LM 1879. This one says N9, or I'm sorry, LM 1877 N-9. And we have our reproduction heatsink. And I think I can sort of mount this just right in here. I want to make sure I got it oriented properly. I think this little hole is designed to indicate sort of the orientation of the chip. So I'll line up the top of the chip with that and slide this puppy into the heatsink. It kind of grabs on to the middle legs. Are we in all the way? I think so. I think so. Make sure I didn't bend any of the legs. There we go. Kind of popped in. All right. And I'm going to, I think, squeeze these together a little bit. Otherwise, it'll never fit into the spot. That's maybe a little too much up there, but it kind of has to be aligned. Hopefully I don't break anything. There we go. Okay. And yeah, I got everything cleaned up. I don't know if you can see. I did kind of accidentally remove a little bit of the solder mask, sort of where it'll be underneath the chip. But I think that's okay. I think what happened is some of the solder, you know, melted and went under a bit of the heat mask. But we should be okay. So let's pop this sucker in, if I can get everything lined up properly. The heat sink in the way, I can't really see what I'm doing. Okay, it is seated properly in there, I believe. Yep, okay. That's as far in as it'll go. I'm just looking closely at the light. Yeah, all the legs are through. Nothing's bent. So I think we're good to move some stuff out of the way. And I think you can see what I'm doing here. We will very carefully solder this into place. I also, after I cleared the old solder out, I ohmed out all the vias just to make sure I didn't accidentally damage any of them. And yeah, they all make good, they all have good continuity with, you know, the next thing in the circuit, which is good. Okay. Careful not to bridge anything. Yeah, let me just take a close look to make sure I don't have any visible bridges. Some of these need a little bit more solder. I'm worried about the ones that are just closest to the heat sink because I don't want them to accidentally bridge. Okay, I think that looks reasonable. Actually, this one needs more solder. Okay, take a look from the top. Looks all right. All right, now let's throw a ton of solder on the heat sink legs. So I guess all 6 of these legs in the middle, 3 on each side, are really designed to go to ground. It's an interesting design in my opinion. Oops, I can tell I just made a bridge. Ha! Good job, Charlie. I think I just knocked it out of the way. See, it needs so much heat though, because the heat sink absorbs it, and so does the ground plane. All right, I think that's good on that side. You know what I should have done is just put a bit of flux on, just to help it flow. I mean, there's flux in the solder, but come on. You can just see how the heatsink just eats all the heat that I'm trying to apply. All right, that looks pretty reasonable to me. Let's grab the multimeter and make sure I didn't accidentally bridge anything. Okay, let's see. Oops. It's good. I don't like that there's there's a momentary, yeah, it's got to be through a capacitor. Yeah, because there's a momentary bit of continuity, but I can see it jumping on the, maybe I can even show you. Okay, right here. So the continuity beeps for a second, but then, I'm talking between this inner leg and where it's the heatsink is. Let me try like this. See, but then the yeah, it's filling up some kind of capacitor. So I'm okay with that. And let's check the top side. It's not really going to be possible, but I can see solder wicked up onto the legs. Which is good. And I don't see any bridging. Solder wicked right through onto the top side, which you kind of want. you know, because it needs to make contact on the top, but you just don't want things to bridge. And we're not. All right, so let's do this. Okay, I think we're good. And we can pop this sucker into the cabinet. So I'll move you over here. Sorry if that made you seasick. Pop this PCB back into the cabinet. I'm leaning at an awkward angle because the camera's in the way. Okay. And I pop this backside support. There we go. Now we're in. And come on. Put that edge connector on. Okay. And this right here is the volume pot. And it's set to like the middle position right now, which should hopefully be good. So let's come around here to the front of the cabinet. And hopefully, whoa, hopefully we've got some sound now. About right there. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm gonna plug in the cabinet. And I'm gonna hit the interlock switch in 3, 2, 1. I'm hearing some buzzing coming out of the speaker. That's something at least. Let me turn off the overhead lights in the garage. We've got nothing on the game. What is going on? I don't understand, guys. All right, guys, it's literally a week later, and I finally figured out what the problem was. And you're not going to believe what was causing this, because I still can't believe it either. I can't believe this is the problem I was having. So coming, taking a look around the back of the cabinet, the problem, or at least the symptom, was 2 of the fuses kept blowing. So there's a couple different fuse blocks back here in a PAC-MAN, upright at least. The Cocktail, I think the Cabaret is even a little bit different. On the left-hand side here, that's way too bright. The left-hand side here, there's like the line voltage, and I think one of those is for the monitor. And then over here, these 4 are for AC voltages that are going to the PCB, because PAC-MAN is a little bit different from most arcade PCBs. This takes AC voltage and has a bridge rectifier on the actual game board itself that turns it into DC voltage. Most games take DC voltage, not AC voltage, so this is a little bit weird with PAC-MAN and some other Namco/Midway games from this era. Anyway, so this transformer is putting out, I think it's 12 volts AC and 7 volts AC. So the top 2 fuses are 1 amp fuses for the 12 volt line, and the bottom 2 fuses are 5 amp fuses for the 7 volt line. So the top 2 fuses, the 2 1 amp fast blow 12 volt fuses, they were both blowing, sometimes right when the cabinet was being turned on. Sometimes it would take, a moment or two. And guys, I went through like $20 of fuses trying to figure out what was causing it, what was causing those 2 fuses to blow. I was disconnecting everything, the monitor and the coin door and the control panel, obviously the game board. And what was happening was the fuses were blowing only when the game board was connected, right? Which would indicate, hey, there's some kind of problem on the game board. Maybe the wiring, maybe the edge connector, but on the game board. But the problem was, I've got another PAC-MAN over here, right? I've got this Cabaret, this mini PAC-MAN over here. This thing, I got it, it's kind of working. I stuck the board from the upright cabinet into the Mini, and it was working fine with sound and everything. The music, everything was great. Obviously, the monitor needs work, you know, and it's kind of, you know, this cabinet's not in great shape yet, but the board was working in this cabinet. And there already is a PAC-MAN board in here, and it's got some issues, but it's kind of working too. So it's not the board. And if I would take the PAC-MAN board that's in the Mini and stick it here in the upright cabinet, the fuses would blow too, right? So I have two apparently working boards, both of which work in the Mini, but whenever either of them would get connected in the upright cabinet, it would blow these two fuses. Now, you know, to be clear, that happened once before. That happened once before earlier when I was working on this cabinet, but it was just once, and the game was still, you know, working. You know, I was working on it and stuff. But you know, once I replaced the sound amp on the PCB, that's when these fuses started blowing. So I'm just, you know, going crazy trying to figure out what was going on. I replaced the fuse blocks. I think I threw them away. I had the original sort of really, you know, lousy quality fuse blocks that came with the clips, right? The fuse clips that came with the PAC-MAN. I replaced them with nice new ones. I literally went through over $20 of fuses trying to figure this out. And you know, thinking to myself, what's next? I've tried everything. I was thinking maybe the transformer has gone bad somehow. I do have a spare PAC-MAN power, you know, transformer assembly. I was thinking about putting a different transformer in here, and you know, it's just I was going nuts, right? Like I was, you know, looking over the wiring harness. I was looking for shorts. I couldn't find anything. And then literally, you know, one night it was like 2 a.m. and I'm like, I've got to go to bed. I've got to give up. And I had an idea. Let me try just one more thing. One more thing. I tried one more thing. And guys, what I tried was disconnecting the speaker. So this is the speaker that was in the cabinet. I don't think this is original. Look at all that artwork on it. And as soon as I disconnected the speaker, everything worked. The game worked, it ran, it stopped blowing fuses. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's the speaker, right? And so I went actually to my MAPI cabinet, because this is I think a 4-watt, 8-ohm speaker is what this calls for. So I've got the MAPI speaker in here, and that's just hooked up temporarily with alligator clips. And let me go in and put a credit on this thing. Listen. PAC-MAN's working. It's working. We'll go right here so PAC-MAN can hide. So yeah, I guess we had a bad speaker, a blown speaker. You know, it still reads 8 ohms between the terminals. So I don't know if there's some sort of, you know, internal short or something. But PAC-MAN's working, and it was the speaker. We've got a bit of a degauss issue going on here, and every time I get rid of it with my, you know, degaussing wand, it comes back. So I think it's maybe this is not a shielded speaker. If you can see, like the I don't know if this is called the magnet part of the back maybe isn't shielded. So I'll have to get a shielded speaker perhaps to fix that. But guys, the speaker was apparently shorted, and that was the problem. Unbelievable, unbelievable, right? Let's let PAC-MAN die off. But yeah, I fixed it. You know, the work I did to you know, repair the sound amp, replace the sound amp, that was all good. That was all good. But the speaker, and I guess maybe that took out the sound amp originally. Come on, come and get me. That took out the sound amp originally, and by the sound amp being blown, it wasn't the whatever, you know, the short wasn't being completed, and so it wasn't blowing the fuse. And once I fixed the sound amp, you know, then it was able to short the fuses. I don't really know, guys. All I know is it's fixed, and we're in good shape here. So got a couple more things that I want to do. Oh, first of all, I noticed something with the monitor. Let's see, we'll come in here. Look at that twitching. Look at that going on right there. I'm actually going to grab the tripod and show you how we fix this. So this is an issue that kind of happens with specifically PAC-MAN and PAC-MAN-like games, you know, Ms. Pac-Man, that kind of thing, and a K7000 monitor, because obviously K7000 isn't the original monitor here. Here, we'll get you in here nice and close. You can see the twitching. It really only happens at the top of the screen. So this is, obviously vertical, Pac-Man's a vertical game, so the monitor's rotated. So this is actually the top of the screen because the monitor would be normally, horizontal. And let me show you how we fix this. It's very, very simple. I'm going to unplug the sync and turn it sideways so that only as the horizontal sync maybe is connected. And now, well, you can't see it. You'll see it in a second. It's gone. No more twitching. No more twitching. So that's good. And I guess I had made a mistake when I reconnected the monitor after I had it out on the bench, and I connected the sync wrong. And thank you to Mike from Mike's Amateur Arcade Monitor Repair for reminding me that that's that's what causes that issue. So now let's go in here, and we've got these marquee lights here. So unlike other games that often will have a fluorescent bulb, Pac-Man uses these two just light bulb sockets, two 60-watt light bulb sockets. So let me put one more in here because it was missing. Come on, come on. There we go. And actually, so this is an LED. It's a 9-watt LED. It's equivalent to a 60-watt incandescent bulb, if you remember those things. But I'm going to take this one out, and I got a glove on just so I don't burn my hand. But I want these to really match and not have one side look different than the other. So we'll take this one out, and we'll put, I don't need the glove anymore. We'll put another LED bulb in here. And I know this is not original, but am I screwing this in right now? How many arcade guys does it take to screw in a light bulb? There we go. How does that look? And we're just doing this temporarily because obviously I need to connect the speaker properly. I'll probably grab a new shielded speaker to put in there. But there we go. We'll put that in, and we'll grab our bracket to hold the marquee in place. And we're getting close here, guys. I think we are basically done with the electronics, fixing the cabinet. Oh, a bug just got in there. Oh no, that's outside. Ha! No, it is in there. Get out of there. Come on. Come on. Oh, there's a moth chasing that. Oh, it's gonna. Okay, there we go. Now it's out. This game. I thought this was, when I picked this up, I figured, oh, this is gonna be easy. But you can see how with the two lights, the two light bulbs, you have a darker spot in the middle, and that's likely why they went to a fluorescent light tube in the future, is to have a more consistent illumination across the length of the marquee. So this sort of illuminates Pac-Man, again, a bit of a darker patch in the middle. And you'll see when we eventually get to fixing up the Pac-Man Mini, the Cabaret, it uses like little coin door lights, a bunch of them to illuminate the marquee. But yeah, and versus the Ms. Pac-Man has the more standard fluorescent light tube. So let's actually come back here and look at that. Look how that looks. That looks pretty good, right? And that rolling of the shutter is just an artifact of the camera. Obviously, it's not in real life. Turn that off, and we've got a couple more things that we want to do here. So we'll back out. We'll come over here, and I want to, I'm not really going to do much cosmetically to this cabinet, but I do, however, want to replace the T-molding because it's all faded, it's all cracking, and I've got a nice, right here somewhere, a nice fresh roll of orange T-molding. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, Charlie, orange, that's not what this looks like. If you look at the cabinet here, you're like, oh, that T-molding, the T-molding on this cabinet, Charlie, is yellow. Look how yellow this is. And look how terrible this orange looks compared to it. And I'm gonna tell you, this is not yellow. Guys, this is faded orange. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you right here. We'll peel the old stuff off. And sure enough, the unfaded side, the non-faded side of this, if it'll show up on camera, there we go, is orange as the day is long. So let's take all this off. Yeah, and see it's all broken and cracking. This is the color. This is the yellow color when it gets all faded. But if we flip it around, that's what it looked like originally. So this is a nice match for that. So let's go and finish peeling off this old T-molding. It gets all crumbly. So sometimes you gotta almost dig it out with your needle nose pliers. Come on, just because it's thin enough and strong enough where it can yank it out. And in some spots, Midway even put like some nails holding it in. Come on, almost. Are we even in frame? Can you even see what I'm doing? No, of course not. Come on, cameraman, get with the program. Okay, there we go. See, it's just brittle and coming apart. But we'll get all this old stuff out of here, being careful not to damage the cabinet. All right, I'm gonna rip all the rest of this out. We'll get it out on both sides. I'll put the new stuff in. You've seen me do that before. And then we'll basically, we'll have a couple things left to do. And we'll be ready to call this PAC-MAN complete, finally. All right, guys, check it out. Beautiful, brand new orange T-molding installed throughout the cabinet. And you know, I always think that new T-molding really helps, you know, set off a cabinet. Even one like this that I'm not fully restoring, you know, there's all this hand wear and imperfections, you know. I'm gonna embrace that as patina, right? Learn to embrace the patina. Don't go crazy. No need to go crazy with museum quality restorations. But yeah, a pop of new T-molding on the cabinet really makes a heck of a difference. One other thing I wanted to do, you know, again, I'm not really doing any real cosmetic work to this cabinet. You know, there's some, you know, scratch, you know, whatever on the coin door, but we had a couple of lock bar holes because, you know, somebody had installed a lock bar to make it even more difficult to get into the coin door to steal all the quarters. And, you know, the correct way to replace lock bar holes is to plug them with a dowel and then Bondo and sand and paint and all that. And I didn't want to, you know, have to do all that work to, you know, match the color and the finish, especially as how worn it is. So all I did was, and this is a really simple thing, you get a couple of carriage bolts, paint them black, throw them in, and yeah, it's not perfect. You can sort of see around, especially on this side where I guess there was a washer that was dug in. But, you know, it fills the gap, it fills the hole, and for somebody that's just a casual, you know, person and not really into arcade collecting or restoration, they're never going to know that it's not original. So, last couple of things we need to do is install the plexi, but on PAC-MAN cabinets, you know, like you saw this with the Ms. PAC-MAN and like Galaga's like this too. It's not just a glass bezel. There's actually a couple of layers, and I actually don't quite have what I need. So first of all, there is a shroud, and I do have the plastic shroud that goes on like this, and that kind of helps, you know, block out light from coming from behind. And then there is a tinted smoked plexi like this, and this is the correct one. This goes in right here, and then the glass goes on top of that. But two things that I'm missing. Well, first of all, there are these little clips that go in right here, like in all four corners, to clip the plexi onto the shroud, and I don't have those, so I'm trying to track those down. And that whole thing then mounts onto these brackets that go on either side. They mount onto the frame of the monitor, and all they do is provide you with these screw points to mount the shroud onto it. And I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if it's the frame that's different or there's an extra piece of wood in here. I've got it mounted slightly differently. But for the life of me, I can't get it to sort of fit in here and come through. So I've got this, but I'll have to take, I don't know, the monitor out and see if there's something. I don't know if this piece of wood is original. That might be blocking it. Something's not right. So we're going to skip that for now. I know, I'm sorry. We'll get to it eventually, or I'll kind of do it on my own at some point. But I do have the original glass artwork bezel right here that I can reposition and slide into the cabinet. And this thing is far from perfect. I cleaned the underside already, but we'll slide this in. And this probably should be triple thicked, and you know, some of the black is fading and coming off. We'll just clean the outside real quick with some Sprayway foaming glass cleaner. Troy from Troy's Restoration put me onto this stuff years ago, and it's great. I like it better than, what's it called? Windex. I like this foaming stuff better. And yeah, so this won't be perfect. We might see some of the light coming through. And again, this bezel is far from perfect too. So I'll probably have to do a better cleaning at some point. But like I said, we're not going for perfection with this game at all. So this is going to be as original as possible, unrestored, survivor, whatever you want to call it. So that's that. And we'll take we'll open up the coin door here. And yeah, I put a key or a lock in to sort of hold everything in place like it's supposed to be. And we'll put our control panel back on, and we will latch it down. And we will reconnect our control panel. There we go. And we'll close it up like this. And guys, I'm going to call this done, at least for now. We'll come over here. Let me get my fan out of the way. And I'll reposition the cabinet a little bit just so that there's minimal glare when we fire this up. But guys, we have, finally, all of this nonsense I had to deal with. Oh my gosh, this was kind of nuts, guys. So let me go ahead and turn off the overhead lights in the garage. I hope I'm filming. I hope I've not forgot to, you know, roll the camera. We will plug in the cabinet right there and take one final look that everything's good to go. I'm going to change the shutter speed, on the camera so that it locks in on the video. All right, everything probably looks black on the camera now, but we'll go ahead and power this thing on in 3, 2, 1. There we go. How's that looking? We see Pac-Man. We see the marquee light, and we see the game. Again, we have the Ghost issue going on. We will get that sorted out eventually. Probably once I get the correct speaker in there that is, shielded and not distorting the image. So sorry about that. Let me grab a quarter and we will play just a little bit of Pac-Man. I'm sure you've seen this a million times before, and this is not a tutorial on how to play Pac-Man. Let's credit up. Okay, that one's stuck. There we go. That one went through. And make sure that we are lined up on the camera. That looks pretty good. All right, let's play some Pac-Man. Hopefully you can hear it too. So I am far from the world's best Pac-Man player, and this joystick might still be a little bit iffy, but there we go, guys. I am thrilled to have this. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. Oh no. Blame the joystick. Gosh. Ha! I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. The Mini is really what I want to keep at home in my collection, so I might bring this to, maybe the my company at work, their other location. Put it at the other break room at the other office that I'm rarely at. But that might be cool. You know, get Ms. Pac-Man at 1 already. Oops. I had them all lined up there. All right. All right. Whoops. Not quite able to get that guy. Oh, pulling down on the joystick is getting funky. Okay, come on. Come on, Charlie, you're blowing it. You at least got to get to the cutscene. Almost got again. See, going down is kind of iffy. Okay. Yeah. Got them mostly stacked up there. Oh, I'm going to get all 4 of them. There we go, 1600. And we'll finish the level. Oh, barely. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's all distorted up there with the degauss. We're about to get our bonus life at 10,000. Okay. And I know there's a pattern. Oh my gosh, let me get one more quarter. I know Pac-Man is all about, it's all about patterns, and there's a way to do it. And yeah, this is not a channel about how to play games. This is a channel about working on games. There we go. Okay, let's definitely get to the cutscene. All right. So yeah, guys, we did it. This Pac-Man is basically done now, other than those little things that I'll need to do on my own to make it perfect. But we'll get there eventually. There we go. That was a little risky, I know. It'll be all right. Get the cherry again. Oh, oh, oh. Maybe not. Yep. Nope. Get away from me. Come on. Joystick, don't fail me now. All right, we got all 4. And that's really what you want to do in this game, obviously. Oh, man! Guys, I'm terrible at Pac-Man. I am terrible. I'm terrible at all arcade games. Where are you going? Here we go. Now they're all out. There we go. We'll get all 4 of them again. And we'll come back over here. We got our bonus life. Oh, and I finished the level. Oops. All right, here we go. And that's the thing with Pac-Man. It's just the same level over and over. And the ghosts have very predictable behaviors and patterns. That's one of the things with Ms. Pac-Man is, you know, the mazes change and the behavior of the ghosts is a little bit different. And there we go. There we go. You know, I was playing this before, and I could have swore that I, like, oh, they got me. I phased through a ghost, like I was in between, like in a pickle situation, and I was just pulling the joystick back and forth. And, oh, the credit, I think the coin dropped through. You know, like that red one will double back on you if you're not careful. And I, like, phased through a ghost when they weren't blue. Like, I didn't eat them, but I passed through them without dying. So I don't know what kind of glitch that is, if that's something that, oh man, people have seen before. We'll get this, we'll get this cutscene. But I didn't catch that on camera, but I thought it was really kind of nuts for that to happen. Okay. We'll clear this out. And we'll get to the cutscene, one of the first cutscenes ever in a video game. Pac-Man being chased by the red monster, I forget what his name is. And then look at that. A preview of Super Pac-Man turning into the giant Pac-Man. And yeah, here we go. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah. Okay. What do you think, guys? Do you love Pac-Man? Everybody likes Pac-Man, right? Oh, dude. Yeah, the joystick. We're going to have to, I don't know if it's the grommet or the leaf switches. I thought I cleaned them, but yeah, guys, that's basically what I've got for you. Oh, there's a credit in there, so we'll play a little bit more. But yeah, that's it, Pac-Man. So we got a lot more stuff coming up. I've got that Nintendo versus Unisystem cabinet. I've got that Outrun cabaret that I'm working on. I've got that Pac-Man cabaret that I've got to get to eventually. I've got a Joust, my spare Joust cabinet that I'm turning into a J-Rock multi-Williams. So we got a ton of stuff going on, a ton of projects, a lot more. I've got some games that I've never even shown you guys yet. Whoops. So make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss a single episode. I typically release episodes on Sundays. Yeah, lots of stuff always in the hopper, always coming. New game pickups, projects. Oh, dude. And but yeah, if you're looking for a tutorial on how to play games, look for a different channel. So yeah, if this is your first time, please hit that subscribe button. Do all the things the YouTube algorithm wants you to do. Like, comment, share, oh man. I'm sorry, guys. I am terrible. But yeah, if you do all those things and you want to do a little bit more, the best way to support the channel is to become an Overtime Arcade channel member. That's right. You've heard me say this before. I keep harping on this because it's a really, really awesome program. It's a way for you to support the channel. It costs you only $1.99 a month. And in exchange, you get access to some awesome perks. You get a monthly members-only live stream, and our one for August is coming up very, very soon. I think it'll be this week. You get early access to all new videos. So typically, if my videos are coming out on Sundays, channel members get early access on Saturdays, so you can see them a day before everybody else. And perhaps best of all, you get access to our private members-only Discord server, which is a really, really fun time. It's a great community, very supportive and positive. We're helping each other out with what we're working on. You know, when we get stumped, we share ideas and tips, and we hook each other up with awesome deals, whether it's stuff that we're selling or stuff that we're finding for sale. And like, we know, like, oh, this person's looking for that game and they're in that area, so let me find it for them. So click that join button down below to learn more about what it means to become an Overtime Arcade channel member. I really want to thank the over 100 folks listed here who are already channel members. They do an awesome job supporting the channel. I really can't do this without them. Thank you so much. Everything that I get from advertising and channel memberships and super chats and super thanks, guys, that all goes back into the channel, paying for parts and cabinets and supplies and everything I need to do to bring these games and videos to you. So yeah, I think that'll wrap it up here. As always, I've been Charlie. Thanks for watching Overtime Arcade, and I'll see you next time. Overtime!